Hi everyone, and welcome back to Exehaven Harbour. And I think I left you last time with basically showing you what I was at, or where I was at working out. I was starting to work out the gradients, and also building this kit, which was the RMV Scillian, the Royal Mail vessel that used to go from Penzance to the Scilly Isles. Well, talking about Scilly, I got this far with it, and I followed the instructions as such, and we got to this state, and I thought, oh lovely, brilliant. Well, anyway, I started to get a little bit further, and I cut out a few more bits and pieces for it, and suddenly realised that I'd built it the wrong way round. So the sharp end is round the wrong way. So I've got the sharp end at the round end and the round end at the sharp end, if you know what I mean. Not very good at nautical terms. So what I ended up doing, because I'm a silly old thing, I ended up refabricating all of this out of cardboard myself, drawing out the base of the boat again and cutting that out from some card, and the centre spine, and also all of the formers. So I actually made the formers out of slightly thicker card, cut out the bottom, and now we're back on track. So I lost a day or so there having to rejig the boat. It was a bit confusing for me, but like I say, I'm a silly old thing, and anyway, we're back there now. That's where we're at with that, and it's starting to look really quite nice. I'll be back on that later this afternoon, and basically I've just got a few more things to do in here, which I thought you might like to see, how I'm getting on with building all the gradients. Well, this is the bit that I have done so far, which is not dissimilar to what I had it last time, but I think I had it all built up on the insulation foam board. I didn't like that. I couldn't quite get a nice straight cut to make it all sort of even as such. So anyway, off I went to B&Q, and I've got some wood, which I'm using now to sort of build up the height and the levels. If we move down here a bit further, here's one, or a large section now that I've built ready to go up to the bridge section. As you can see, I've got a few things weighed down on it. They're coming off in a minute, because that's been waiting overnight. There we go, I've got everything pegged out there. And basically what I'll do is I'll just switch you off, and then we'll come back in a second and I'll put it back in situ where it's going to be. Right, okay, so the section that you just saw lying on its back with its legs in the air is this section here. This is going up at that slow gradient. I think I said last time it's roughly 2.5%, or the other way that I was working at it was 2 centimetres to sort of roughly a metre, so, or 4 feet. It depends really on it. That was a 4 feet board, so that went up 2 centimetres. What I've done with the legs is that in here I've actually cut them at a slight angle so that they sort of fit on there quite nicely. And the end piece I've stuck on there. Got a bit of a dead fly there, get out. So that we can basically lean on the next section can lean on it. Now the section over the back, I've got a curved section of backboard here. As you can see, I think you can see that, yeah, it curves round. I've cut this out basically by using a paper template, and it sort of cuts in there. There's a little gap in there which I'll sort out as we go along. That'll be covered up anyway with scenery and stuff, so there'll be no track running in there. So I was quite pleased with that. The way that I've done that, I'll show you, because I'll be working on this next section here, which has got that gap at the back, which is what I'm going to do this afternoon before I go back indoors and start building the boat again. Is over here on the bench. I've already cut out the template. Let's get a paper template. I've held it against the wall. There's the other part to it, just there. And basically I'll just press it up against the wall, run my finger round it, and then run a pencil line round it, and then cut it to shape. So we get rid of that piece. This piece here, get rid of that, and we're left with this piece, which I then use on my MDF, and then I use that as a template and just run the pencil line round it, and it's that line there, the bottom line, because I've actually marked the end piece that I need there, and that just comes down there. And now I'm going outside to cut that off with my jigsaw, if it behaves itself. It seems to have a mind of its own when I get hold of it. As I've said before, I'm no carpenter or tradesman by any means, and spent my life working in an office in the city, and yes, every time I seem to get hold of that thing, it's got, like I said, it's got a mind of its own, and likes to fight me quite a bit. But I was quite successful yesterday, so hopefully I should be reasonably successful today. Be back shortly. Right, so there we go. Not too much of a fight with the jigsaw today, although it did try to, but I did manage to fight back. Yeah, no, that was okay. So I've cut that little piece out that I showed you earlier. I've cut the two legs out, and there'll be two pieces that will stick to the other side there, so that they hold it all up. And that'll be that, really. I'll probably go on to do a bit more today over the bridge section, which I'll probably come back to at the end. So that's that, and I'll probably come back to you in a minute once I've sort of glued that on. Right, okay, so that's that bit all glued on. It's got 2 feet on this end. I'm going to put another little piece right on the end, just so that the bridge sections have got something to bind onto, and I shall put some weight on there and let that cure overnight. I think it can't really go any further today because of this section needing to dry off the glue, so that's where we're at. So that little section round the curve has now basically had the curve cut out into shape, and it does fit in there reasonably well. There's a little small gap here and there at the back, but that'll all be filled up with scenery as time goes on. Oh, just a little thing. All the way from China, a ketchup bottle that I used to do. I buy these big sort of bottles of PVA from B&Q, and I just pour them into there. Quite good, I've got to say. Don't know whether it's a tip. I think I probably found it from somewhere else myself. Right, okay. And just before I go, and I think I might just call it a video today, and I'll post this up and we'll see how we go. Now, this is because there's going to be 2 bridges going over here. There'll be one in front of this. I don't know, for some advice more than anything. Now, these pieces of wood that I've got holding it up, I intend to use as part of the bridge, and put them in brick paper. I'm just wondering whether they're wide enough. I've just measured with my sort of gauge ruler, end gauge ruler, and they are 25 feet wide. I'm not quite sure whether it's enough for this structure or not, but I don't want to use much bigger because I think it might look a bit odd with the bridge. And bearing in mind there'll be like a hillside coming down into that first one anyway, so that will cover up probably at least a third of it. And this one will probably be just sitting on the edges of what is the estuary as it comes in here. I have made a mark somewhere. I can't see that one now. This one here, there's the pencil line that goes up, forming the estuary. So some of these parts of the structure will be in the water. So I don't know. Maybe not. I might have to sort of perhaps build them out a little bit. Maybe. I don't know. But they're certainly 25 foot wide. And if I get my scale ruler, get that shape there. And just here, that's 8 feet. So whether it's enough to technically hold a structure up of this size, I think it might be a bit spindly. So what I might do is actually glue two together and make it like that. But yeah, maybe your thoughts on it. I mean, I'm just worried that it might look a bit thick if I put another one with it. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, thanks for watching again. Thanks for everybody that's subscribing. I'm having fun doing it. As I've said before, the videos will come out just when I'm ready to do them, really. So that's where I'm at, really. It's a bit of a slow process because it's taken me a little while to work out the gradients, as I've said before, but this is how far I've got. This is not obviously how it's quite going to be, because it was just how I was setting it up as I went along, just to check the gradients, really. And I'm desperate to put some track down, but what I'm going to do is put that down once I've finished this section, and I'll show you where I'm up to. Now that hardboard in there won't be there, but I've actually cut that out. I'm going to use that as a template for the 9mm MDF. That comes because that's on a curve as well. I don't know whether you can see that. I've curved that around there, so I've got a lovely sweeping curve coming around there. And this will actually, in the end, you won't see this part of the track, I don't think, as it comes to the back of Exehaven town. But that's how far I'm going to get. Obviously, none of this is bridge structure. The bridge structure is purely this section from here where the pencil line is, and it goes over to there. But the rest of it will be up on a hillside off of the bridge, coming round. There's another river actually, which will be technically the River Ex, that flows out into this little bay, which then flows out into the sea in my world. And there'll be another bridge over there, possibly a small viaduct. See how that goes. And that's as far as we've got there. So all of those bubbles in that paper will be covered up, so it's not a problem there. Okay, thanks everybody, thanks again, speak soon, cheers.